Hey guys, Kaz here, and today I'm going to be doing the Moody Book Tag. I was tagged to do this by Faye over at Books and Chagaholic. The original is by Slanted Spines. Both of those will be linked below, along with the questions. So let's just go. Question 1 is, do you consider yourself a mood reader? Yes, and also no, but mostly yes. I do consider myself a mood reader, but also if I set TBRs, I try and read them. But then, if you're not in a mood to read a book, then you're probably not going to rate it high, so yes, I will say yes. Question 2 is, do you set TBRs and do you stick to them? So I just kind of touched upon that, but let's delve a little bit deeper. When I first started BookTube, I didn't ever make TBRs. I just read whatever I wanted for the month, it was fine. But then whenever I did readathons, I would make a TBR. And I started realising that if I was doing a month-long readathon and I made a TBR for it, I was reading more books than if I was just reading whatever I want when the mood takes me. So now I do make a TBR, but I don't hate life if I don't complete it. I do like doing the Scrabble TBR game, but I'm not one of these people that have punishments or different things if you don't read the certain books. So I'm like, here's my TBR. If I get to it, great, they're my main priority. But if I'm not in the mood to read them, then I'm not going to force myself to read them. I'm not going to make some sort of punishment, because reading is not a punishment. Reading is an enjoyment thing. So yes, I do make TBRs, but if I'm not in the mood to read whatever, then I just won't. Question 3 is, do books affect you emotionally? Here's the thing, I have a whole shelf on Goodreads called Don't Wet the Page With Your Tears because I cry so much at books. So that is a big fat yes. Books definitely make me emotional, and I love it when they do. I feel like there's some sort of connection. I enjoy the book more, I remember it more, even if it destroys me and I'm crying in a harrowing way. I like feeling emotion when I read books, so yes, definitely. Give me all the emotions, let me cry. Question 4 is, when you're feeling sad, do you like reading sad, happy or neutral books? Honestly, I don't even think I've ever associated my mood with what I'm reading, other than the fact of, oh, I'm in the mood for a contemporary, oh, I'm in the mood for fantasy. I've never thought, oh, I'm sad, so I'm going to read either a sad book or a happy book. It's just not something that has ever, those two things have never crossed. They're not a thing. So, I don't know if it's a thing, I don't know. Maybe subconsciously I do go for certain books, but I couldn't say yes because I don't know. So, when I'm feeling sad or happy, I go for whatever I'm reading. Question 5 is, most often do you use reading to escape, learn or critically reflect? So most of the time I would say escape, because I just like reading for the fun of it. Obviously if I'm reading non-fiction, it's probably to learn something. I don't really care about critically reflecting. I know, oh, I'm terrible, I'm such a bad person that I don't want to pick apart all of my favourite books and say, oh, that's problematic, oh, somebody said that, so I'm not allowed to like it anymore. No. If I like the book, I like the book. I'm not going to overanalyze it to try and force myself not to like it. I don't understand people that have like an average rating of 2 stars on Goodreads and they hate everything. I'm just like, why are you still reading? There's critically reflecting, and then there's just critically trying to force yourself not to like anything. So I'm firmly in the camp of, I read because I enjoy it. And also, while I'm enjoying it, I sometimes learn stuff. Not even necessarily just in non-fiction either. For example, in some contemporaries, if it's set in a different country or in a different place, obviously I learn. If it's about different people, I learn. You know? But I don't care about critically reflecting stars. Like I said earlier, I read for enjoyment, not to not enjoyment. We're about halfway through, so we're gonna jump on over to the best part of the video, we all know. Here's a message from one of our sponsors, and we will be back.
Hello. What are you doing in there?
Question 6 is, what is a book that made you laugh out loud? So very recently I read Heartbreak Boys by Simon James Green, and there's a bit in this that I think I laughed more at this than any book that I've ever read. I talked earlier about crying a lot of books. I haven't laughed at that many books, not that I can remember. So when I do genuinely laugh out loud, not just read it and think, oh, that's funny, when it actually elicits a response of genuine laughter, then I'm like, wow, that's amazing, I need to remember that, because it doesn't happen very often. And this book did that. In general, Simon James Green is a great writer, and all of his books are funny. So this one, it's in my memory because it was very recent, but yeah. And then question 7 is what a book that made you cry, and if you didn't cry, affects you emotionally. We know that I do cry at books. We also know there's quite a lot of books that I could choose from. How many books are on that Don't Wet the Page with Your Tears Goodreads shelf? Too many, some might say, but just to grab the first one near me. Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. So I made the bold choice to read this when I was out and about on a bus. So at about 10 o'clock at night on a bus home, luckily there weren't many people there, but in the 40-minute bus ride I cried about 5 times on a public bus whilst reading this book, and then many times after when I got home and finished it, so many cries. Question 8 is what is a book that you didn't even know how you felt about after? Let me just read that because that sounds like it doesn't make sense. Question 8 is what is a book you didn't even know how you felt about after? I think that's what I just said. That's a really weirdly placed sentence. In my head I've gone straight with One of Us, but I don't know why, because I think it just made me numb and affected me a lot. So it's not like I didn't know how it affected me. It affects me loads. So that doesn't really count. A book that I didn't really know how I felt about. I'm just going to randomly say The Wicked King by Kay Ankrum, because I read all this in one go, up like all night. I stayed up all night reading it, and then I finished it and I was like, did I love that? What happened then? Was it amazing? Was it alright? I gave it 5 stars in the end, but I was just kind of like, I don't even know how to think about this book. So I guess that one works for this question. Question 9 is, are you more likely to read on a sunny or cloudy day? This question is just obsolete. It's got no bearing on my reading tastes or my reading times or my reading in general. The sun, the sky, the weather, that doesn't make any difference. So both. More likely to read on both. I live in England, so most of the time it's cloudy, but sun does exist as well, and I do also read them days, so both. Question 10 is, do you usually set the mood when you read? Music, lights, smell, etc. No, I'm just really boring at answering these questions, aren't I? No, I don't set the mood. I read whenever. I read at night in bed. I read whilst I've got YouTube on in the background. I don't put any lights on. Well, I do put a light on, otherwise I won't be able to read. I guess I set the mood by being able to see the words, put the light on. But yeah, no. A certain scent, no. Music, no. Most of the music I like has words in it, and if I was listening to music I would not be able to read because I'd be singing along. The mood is whenever I feel like reading. And the last question, question 11, is, can you leap from book to book, or do you need buffer time in between? I think this one depends on my mood, it depends on the book. Most of the time I finish a book and then straight away I'll grab another one. Sometimes like literally straight away, sometimes the next day if it's later. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just think, oh, I'm not in the mood to read right now. I finished that book, I'll pick up another one when I want to. And then other times, if I'm feeling slumpy, I try not to force myself too much to read. Sometimes I'll pick a book up and have a read and be like, I can't. So then I don't. I just watch Netflix or watch YouTube or do something else. So I guess it depends. And that is the end of the tag. So, should I tag some people? Yes, I will. I'll tag Lucy from Books and Brushes, Casey from Introverted Reader, Xander from This Squared, Cubed, This Cubed, This Cubed, and I don't think I've seen Connor do it, so I'll tag Connor from Connor's Library Corner. And anybody else that wants to do it, give it a go. If you don't, then don't. Even the people that I've tagged, if you don't want to do it, then don't. Let me know down below any answers to your questions. Do you agree? Do you disagree with some of the stuff that I said? Let me know. And if this is your first video about me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of the others. And if you continue to enjoy it, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, it sounds like I just called you gays. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video. Bye.
Bye. What are you meowing for?